Welcome everyone to Your Our Unity, a show that wishes to spread a spirit of peace and love in the world, one conversation at a time.
None of that affects how you are going to change the world.
That's right.
No, it does not take one person to change the world, but it takes one person to believe in themselves.
Yes.
That they can make a difference.
I love
to
that.
Inspire others.
And that's why, for me, I try to make it my purpose now to try to help other people realize their self-worth.
Yeah.
Because it's so sad that so many of us, we get destroyed based off of what other people have to say.
Yeah.
I would say do it in your own way. Make sure you're doing it on your own accord and take a risk.
Go out there and live your life passionately. Believe in everything that you're doing and believe in the fact that you will accomplish every single goal. Welcome everyone to Your Our Unity, a show that wishes to spread a spirit of peace and love in the world, one conversation at a time. We want to encourage you to respect the unique differences in others. Allow them to express their opinions and perspectives. Allow them to share with you what's on their heart and on their mind. Allow their voices to be heard. Let me tell you, in doing so, trust me, you will find some commonalities, expose those commonalities. Find some common ground, maybe build a mutual understanding, and more importantly, you'll be able to find a new friend. I am your host, LeShawn Walker. I'd like to welcome you in. Please like, share, and follow. Let everyone know that we're on. Please tag a friend, call a friend, and let them know that Your Our Unity is on. So I hope that you guys had a wonderful Holy Week. I hope that you were blessed and uplifted this past week. I had a wonderful Easter Sunday. I was able to go to church with my daughter. The message was for us to arise to our power, to our life, to just everything that we are. So I hope that you guys were out there just living your best life, enjoying this special time that we should be spiritually filled, but also sharing that with the people that are in our life. We are another month down. The month it's just flying by, ladies and gentlemen, and I just don't quite understand. I'm trying to hold on to every little minute. I'm still trying to catch up with the goals and the plans that I had for last month, but we are now in this month. And so tell me, what are your goals? What do you aspire to achieve? What is still on that list that you weren't able to complete from last month? I am on a journey of just renewing. You know, I've been caregiving for the last few months, so I've kind of lost sight of LeShawn. So I think this month I'm going to take the time to love on me again, to share some time with myself, to get some activities that I haven't been able to do lately, and get that in, and more importantly, just focus on my growth and me soaring for 2024. Last week, we had an amazing show with Miss Stacy Connell, and she spoke about how important it is for us to be lifesavers by becoming a not kidney donor necessarily, but an organ donor. And I advise all of you guys to do so. I've been researching it myself, and I'm definitely planning on doing so, especially, for the fact that, my loved one was just blessed with the kidney transplant. So it is now my mission this month to spread the word to everyone that I know how important it is that we be givers of life if we are able to, in any way possible, if we can. So I hope that you guys, again, had a wonderful, wonderful week. A couple of weeks ago, I, was out in the street, out and about. I was at events and all kinds of functions, and I loved every minute of it. And unfortunately, I didn't get to share it with you on last week's show. So I'm going to share it with you this week. I'm going to tell you everything that I've been up to the last couple of weeks of March. So this week in Unity in the Community, I'm going to tell you about the Gandhi King season for nonviolence event that I attended. It was amazing. I went last year, if you guys remember. It is an intergenerational cultural event hosted by Learn, Lead, and Serve, headed up by Lindy Crescitelli and Dr. Sean Landry. The event was filled with just singing and dancing and spoken words and keynote speakers such as Walter Nagel, who is the beloved survivor of Bayard Rustin, one of Dr. King's closest advisors and chief organizer and architect of the historic March on Washington. And also the recent movie they had called Rustin, which is currently on Netflix. It was amazing. We honored some great people who were part of the civil rights movement, such as Angeline Butler, Ed Geffner, Muriel Tillinghast, Dorothy Zellner, and there were so many there who are still contributing to the mission that Dr. King and Gandhi had, which is love, peace, and unity. We're looking for peace to be had on earth. They had an amazing flag festival where everyone who was there was able to rep their countries that they came from and actually share in the beautiful, diverse cultures that were hosted that day. So it was extraordinary. I hope that you guys are able to attend next year, because every year they put on a fabulous event and they invite all of these schools and all of these organizations from across the tri-state area. So I'm hoping that you guys will be able to participate next year, because we are honoring the 60th year on the March on Washington, I think Memphis, I'm sorry. So yes, that is what we're going to be celebrating next year. So I will be sharing the information, and I expect every last one of you who is part of the Unity community to attend. And then after that, Sir Sheffick and we headed out to Jersey, and we went to an event hosted by Late Development founder Elijah. That room was filled with love and unity, performances by these amazing artists, all who have blessed the music industry with their amazing talent. I met this amazing woman who has been part of the music industry for over 25 years. She's currently on this new path in her life of empowering women. She was the spoken word poet of the evening. Her name is Amelia Ismore. She's our guest for this evening. So I'll be sharing a little bit more about her once we bring her on. But that night was just amazing. I can't tell you how much love was in that room, how we all were just there to just see and view all of the talent and all of the gifts that was pouring out of those performers. And again, it was culturally diverse as well. All about unity, which you know our unity is all about. And it was shining and showing so brightly in that room that evening. So I'm so grateful to Sheffick for inviting me, because it was a long day. Literally, we left the Gandhi King event and then we dashed over to Jersey. So it was a long night, but I'm so glad that I was filled with so much love that day that by the time I got home, I was still ready to go another few hours. I think that once you fill yourself with love, you really do. You get that energy, you get that fire, you get that spirit that you're not tired anymore. You just want to go out there and you want to share it with the world. And that's basically what I was doing, the days after, and still till today, my friends. And this weekend, as I mentioned, we just had Easter and Holy Week for all the other all the other religions out there. But I was able to host with the Lions Club, which I am the community service chair for, the Easter egg hunt, our annual Easter egg hunt with all these little kids from the community. We had the bunny out there. We had thousands of eggs. We had entertainment. We had raffles and gifts. The kids had an amazing time, and I was so happy to be a part of this beautiful event again this year. And I'm so glad also that the weather was, on our side, because right now it is raining outside. And I understand for the next couple couple of days it will be doing so. So I hope again that you guys were out this weekend enjoying each other, out spending some time with your loved ones, sharing some time, some love with the little children in your life, but more importantly, being blessed with whatever religion you are, having the time to connect with your spirituality and the deeper powers that be. So it's all about cultural diversity. It's all about us getting along. It's all about us wanting to just hear each other out, listen to each other, literally keenly listen to what each other is saying, and trying to figure out a common ground on how to move forward and actually respect one another's feelings. The young lady that I met a couple of weeks ago, Amelia, is more. She is this woman that is on this path of unifying not just man and woman and people in business, but also society. She's on a mission to empower us all on how we just need to use our voices to come up with common ground on how we can relate to one another, how we can build with one another, how we can be stronger and more innovative together. So I want to share a little about this amazing woman with you. Her name is Amelia Moore, and the title of the show is Different View, One Voice. Amelia Moore, also known as Amelia Is More, is a second generation Cape Verdean achiever. Honored with the President's Lifetime Achievement Award from the White House, she's a versatile talent and entrepreneur, excelling as an author, actor, educator, TV host, journalist, consultant, and former record executive. With over 25 years in entertainment, including hosting her own podcast and TV shows, she's a true all-rounder. As CEO of Buzz Builder BMC, she emphasizes visibility and recently launched CEO versus CEO, a book promoting gender diversity in the corporate world. Her passion for storytelling drives her journalism, seen in her work with Floss Magazine and other platforms. Recognized with numerous awards, including the powerful Women in Business Award, Amelia is dedicated to education, child advocacy, and women's empowerment. Her commitment to positive change extends to advocacy work and speaking engagements worldwide. Amelia's next venture is radio, aiming to foster progressive communication for social change. So please help me welcome this dynamic advocate, Miss Amelia Moore. How are you, beautiful?
Hey, I'm wonderful. Thank you for such an amazing introduction. I love all the photographs. I'm in production, so I'm like gritty grimy, but I'm like, she got all the diva pictures down.
That's right, my friend. I had to show you in your best light, which is always shining bright. So thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate it. I know that you wanted to be in the studio, but thank God we didn't go on that journey, my friend. It would have been
Because it is horrible outside right now. Yeah.
exactly. So
You know
how
how
have you
cats don't
been?
like rain.
Huh?
I said, you know how cats don't like rain. Ew.
Yes. You are too much. You are so funny. Well, again, thank you so much for being here. I want to talk about everything that you have going on and just the mission that you're on, more importantly, to connect the world, society, individuals one at a time and unify us. And as I mentioned, I met this beautiful young lady a few weeks ago, and your poem that you recited at the event. Oh my God, thought provoking, so powerful, had such meaning and depth to it. And so I want to also speak about that. But I usually ask people about their past. So I don't want to go too much into your childhood because I know that you were raised to be fabulous. Tell us about your time as a record executive, how that all came about. How did you navigate yourself into the music industry at such a young age?
Well, I wanted to be a supportive wife, and at that time I was married. So my mom always said, you never take a man from his work. So my ex-husband at the time was a producer, and I was in the garment industry. I came from fashion and modeling. That was my history. So shout out to a friend of mine, Deidre Tate. You know, it's all about the sister connection. She had told me about Time Warner having a temp program within the music industry where you could, you know, one day be in the mailroom or the next day, depending on your administrative skills, you know, on the 30th floor holding it for the CEO. Well, I happened to wind up temping in the black music department of Atlantic Records. And at that time, the young DJ, God rest the dead, DJ Fumi, he didn't want to DJ anymore. And I was like, well, I want this job. So we made a deal that he would show me the ropes and then he would just quit and he would suggest me as a permanent temp. And that's how I got in.
Wow. So how did you like it? I know that you're not working in the industry any longer, but how did you like it? What did you help, forge in your time in the industry?
Well, I mean, I think one of the wonderful things, I've always been a music lover. In my house as a young girl, we always had music. My parents, I had a little tiny organ, and I could say, I hate my mother as long as I was singing. So it was a communicative thing. You know what I mean? So I've always loved music. So when I got into the Black music department of Atlantic Records, I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is just fabulous. And I was in A&R, so that's arts and repertoire. So we're actually looking for the new talent, the next producer, and all of that. And so that totally was in, my passion wing. You know what I mean? Like my working wheel. So yeah, I just kept on excelling. And I think sometimes when you're somebody that loves to learn, you kind of get bored with certain things quickly once you learn it. So I think that that was something that actually was advantageous for me, and that after I learned about A&R, I wanted to do A&R administration. So I took a job at G Street, and there I did PM Dawn, Dougie Fresh, Grave Diggers, alternative music, reggae music, Luciano, Beanie Man. I mean, it was crazy. Sizzler, the whole nine. And then from there, I went to become GM of Rough Rider and president of Rough Rider Lifestyle.
Oh,
Because
wow.
in between that, I decided to consult and not necessarily work for a label per se. And when I did that, I worked the first Asian hip hop group called Mountain Brothers. And
Oh,
they
wow.
did a tour and everything. I mean, I just love music and I love bringing it to the people. And I think that that's what allowed me to do the amazing things that I did over the years.
I love that. Well, I know being in the industry just, connected you with so many different types of people. And, after you transitioned from that sort of career and now you're embarking on your fabulous Amelia is more and what you have to offer from what you've learned and what you've gained. Tell us a little about how you used, what you learned and what you grew in the music industry in this new path that you're on right now.
Well, shout out to my friend Paz. He calls me executive talent because he's like, Amelia, no matter what, you're always an executive, even though you're now talent. Because I am. I'm singing, I'm acting, I'm hosting, I wrote a book, all of these wonderful creative things. I'm just tapping into the creative side of me. I am an artist, and it's wonderful to say that sentence, because so much of my life I've been an executive. So I think what enables me is it gives me a different perspective towards performance. I cannot ignore the understanding of time and production and things of that sort, continuity and things of that sort that you teach, that you learn as an executive, so that production wise or budget wise, you're not wasting money and time. But when you're creative, those things are not the things that you focus on. You're focusing on performance and authenticity in your creativity you know so to be able to focus on that, understanding the other aspect that is necessary to be a viable artist, I think sometimes gives me um an ability to perform or outperform,
Right.
because I understand those other dynamics that a lot of artists don't.
Right. No, I totally understand it. That's beautiful. Well, I know that you do a plethora of things, my friend. You are, as I mentioned, let me see, where's the bio? You talking about this is you, my friend. You just gave me the bio and I just read it. That is it. So again, journalist, actor, consultant, author, all of these amazing things that you have just, I'm sure, flourishing at. Tell me, which one of them out of all of them do you enjoy the most?
I think succinctly, it's just being creative.
Mm,
Creating something out of nothing. Like I joke and I say, I think Maya Angelou channeled me when I did Journey of Her Race, that poem, because I just felt so much of her in that. It's like, why does the caged bird sing?
right.
That type of philosophy, just taking you on a journey of a different scope for you to see life in a different manner, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it felt good that people did capture that from that poem. So I think just being a creative, that's
I
what
love
I
that.
really love.
I
It's
love
cool.
that. I love it. I love it. Well, the title of the show and which your platform is basically that is the foundation of and the mission, the message is different view, one voice. Tell us exactly what that means, from your perspective, and how can we bring that into everyone's living room, into everyone's world.
Sure. Well, I mean, I think, shout out to MNN, Manhattan Neighborhood Network. I wanted to learn more about production, so I took their course, and that's actually what entered me into this television creative side. And when it came time for me to produce my own show, I loved Gil Noble and I loved Rose. Oh, goodness, I can't think of his first name, but Mr. Rose. So I wanted to create something that was a combination of that, where anyone I'm interviewing, I know their history, I know their journey, but at the same time, it's different stories that have social impact, you
Hmm.
know, and a different mindset. Because I think I agree with you wholeheartedly when you say if you understand more about people, it's like culturalism. If you understand why people do something based on their culture, you understand that they're not being offensive. This is just what they do.
Yes.
Like we as Americans, we like space. But if you go to some other countries, their space is like right in your face and it's okay. No,
Yes.
it's not okay. So you think they're being rude when in actuality they're just doing what they do every day. And when you understand that, you can understand people better. You really
Yes.
can. So I love to have conversations because that's really what it is with people on what they think and why they do the things they do. So, we've had some amazing people like, Ken Ivey, who back in the day was known as Pimpin' Kev. And he had MTV and all of that, but he wrote a book of 48 Laws of Human Chess,
Hmm.
and that was very interesting. And he equated just your whole journey and your whole perspective similar to a chess game. So it was very
Wow.
interesting. We also had a young lady who has her own clothing line, and she's Muslim. So she does these designs that shows the sultriness of a woman's physique without necessarily exposing the body.
Oh,
And it's really fabulous. Her line was absolutely amazing. The other thing I did was I took two DJs, the original Spinderella from Salt and Pepper. She had a
mhm.
DJ program, and she had young kids learning what it means to be a DJ. And so I brought the kids on the show, and they talked about why it's important to be able to have different experiences that opens their mind and lets them understand that there is no such thing as can't. They just need to learn how.
I
So
love.
it's fun and exciting things like that. And so I live by that code. I
Mm,
really do. I realized, you know, the most important thing I guess I could give anybody that's listening is let each day be a lesson on how to better yourself.
yes.
Let each conversation bring you to more clarity of who you are.
Yes.
And let that clarity give you the framework of which you need to keep, let go, or just review,
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah.
that you're always working on being better
Yeah.
and learn the language of love. There's many different ways of saying something, but when you learn the language of love, we live in a society that everything is negative,
Yes.
everything.
Yep.
Controversy sells. And unfortunately, when you really think back and you look at that method of marketing as a marketer, that really came in the 90s because nobody was paying attention to us. So the
Right.
only thing that we could get press wise was controversy. And, the rest
Yep.
is history. They just
Yep.
use it as a modus of operandi instead of being creative. But it's
Yes.
time to have loving language. It
I
really is.
Yep, you're absolutely right. That's the one voice. Even though there's difference in opinions, ideas, thoughts, and perspectives, we should also have that one singular voice, and the voice is of love. And I love that you built that platform on that whole entire idea, that no matter where you're from, no matter what you've learned, no matter what you're taught, no matter what neighborhood you come from, we should all be, from the depths of our soul, be speaking the one voice and the one speech of love. So I know that right now, on this new platform that you're on, to sort of bridge that gap, to make everyone understand each other a little better, to allow us to listen to one another a little clearer. You've become an author as well, and you've actually started with building relationships with men and women, not only personally, but also through corporate, through business. So share with us real quick about what CEO versus CEO is all about, and how you even came up with that idea.
Certainly. So, as I mentioned before, my biggest
Oh my God, where did she go? Well, there she goes. She's popping right back on, my friends. Let me tell you
was
something. The magic
everything
of
from the
technology. Go ahead.
yeah, that was from the record label to the dog food to the thug workout to the motorcycles, which I really helped build that business model, still existing today, to the producers, to everything, the
Right.
clothing line, to everything, overseeing all of that. And I think it literally at times would be me and like 100 dudes or 200 dudes, no lie. So
Mm,
I learned a lot from my brothers, and I love my brothers, as you know. And what I decided to do was help women understand them better and help my brothers understand some of the things they do unknowingly,
yeah.
because they want to be supportive, but sometimes they're not,
Right.
so it's like, it's because we're nurtured differently.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so we cannot ignore that. I mean, I think the era is changing now with all this anonymity of sexuality, but back in the day, it was, left and right. And so consequently, that has brought a method of conversation and interpretation of conversation that actually is different.
Right.
Like I one of the things I speak with women in corporate America is stop saying I want to help.
Mm,
Help makes you subordinate. Say I want to work with you.
right.
Automatically, he interprets it as an asset to the team. And
Mhm.
that might sound minuscule, but it's real.
Right.
And
Right.
so, the most important thing that women really need to understand, and brothers need to understand when they're dealing with women, is positioning.
Right.
What is the role? What is the position? What is the responsibility? And what is the execution of that?
Right.
And once you start understanding that to the point of a modus of operandi, then you have a machinery
Mm,
and gender becomes mute.
right.
And
Yeah.
so those are some of the things that I communicate with both sides of the fence so that they can understand the beauty of working together.
I love that. That's beautiful. Well, I know that you've broken down, our men into categories. So I would like you to share with us those four categories. What exactly do they mean? Because let me tell you something. This literally can resonate with everyone, whether it's professionally or personally. This man exists in your life and in your world. And I also, if you would, like you to break down the different categories of each woman. And I want us all to kind of find ourselves in those descriptions, because those people are what are going to build the unity that we need. Once we accept who we are in those unfortunate categories, I have to identify with who we are. Maybe we'll understand a little bit better how to progress, so that we can all find some common ground and something, so we can get along. So go ahead.
Sure. So, okay. So, ladies and gents, it's called the 4 E's of men. And again, I must preface this by saying I love my brothers,
Yes,
but
he
it's
does.
just a little bit of an observation of repetitive behavior that made me say, okay, this is that, this is that, this is that, this is that. So, the first one is the emperor. And the emperor is the brother that really wants to see you succeed. He takes you underneath his wing and lets you see you fly. However, be careful of the false emperor. That's the brother that wants to get close to you to find out what your weakness is, to knock you out for whatever reason. He's not secure with you being in the coop. So he wants you out. Okay, so the way that you know the difference between the two is a real emperor will take you into the room and say, Amelia, come into the room, don't say anything. I just want you to listen. And
Right,
then we'll discuss ideas later. You know what I mean? Because again, if you're creative and executive, your input or your mindset is your value, you
right,
know? So, but a false emperor will take you into the room, don't prep you on the room or nothing, and then all of a sudden say, Amelia, what do you think? And if you don't know anything, you shouldn't say anything.
right.
So now it positions you as being unknowledgeable, and that gives him a platform to say, see, I told you she doesn't know what she's doing. So, you know, there's strategies to that, and I go into that a little bit of depth, but let me go into the second E. The second E is the enforcer. Now, the enforcer, there's two types of enforcers. The first enforcer is the brother that looks at you honestly through a man's perspective and sees what you need to fix to deal with other brothers better,
Right.
right? And that's the good enforcer. He really is genuine, like a real, emperor that he wants to see you. But a false enforcer is the brother that doesn't necessarily like taking orders from a female. So he inadvertently has this false sense of authority by telling you what you need to do.
Right.
However, with that person, you must, and I repeat, must let him understand that you're the shot caller. And so, what you do as an executive female or just authoritative woman in a relationship is you let them understand that no, 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 no. This is what I need you to do. As a
Mm,
matter of fact, I need you to do this, 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 and you add other responsibilities to deter that type of behavior. Because if you don't macromanage your team, you'll spend most of your time micromanaging, and most of your micromanaging will be from false enforcers. So
right.
nip that in the bud.
Right.
The third one, my brothers laugh at all the time, and my ladies go, oop, but that's the egghead. And the egghead is just a brother that just don't like you because you're female. So stop trying to get him to like you. Just don't do it. Just
Oh.
don't. And as
Mm,
much as possible, if you are a project manager in a room where there's nothing but men and you know you have an egghead, address that right at the top of your presentation. Say, Paul, I know you're not going to like this, but please give me 5 minutes to put everybody on the same page and I'll give you the floor. And that strategy actually prohibits two things. And ladies, I know you deal with this if you're an executive where they say, I don't like it, and they go on to the next thing and they
mhm.
don't discuss the apathy, you
Right.
know. Whereas if Paul doesn't like it, is no surprise. But
Mhm.
now he has to quantify his apathy. So
Right.
it's more professional and it gives you back control of the room. And so you never lose control. But the last one is the most important one. And I tell ladies all the time, do not ignore your everyday, because that's his name, the everyday dude. And that's the dude that just goes into work, never causes any problems, never complains, just does his job and goes home. But if
Mm,
he complains about you, everything that everybody else that I just finished mentioning can utilize that like this. Because see, Michael never argues. So
mm,
I'm telling you, Amelia's a bitch. You know what I mean? So every day you must say to Michael, listen, Michael, if you ever have a problem, you know what to do. You come to me first, right?
right.
So now Paul the egghead goes to Michael and says, isn't Amelia driving you crazy? First thing Michael, who doesn't like drama, is going to say to Paul is, "Man, go on with that. She tells me every day if I got a problem, I go to her personally, so I'm
Mm,
good."
I love.
Period. Nipped in the bud.
Yeah.
Nipped in the bud. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. And as far as, I didn't realize how men actually put us in categories. I didn't
Yes. Of course
realize
you
that
do.
until I started working with a lot of men. And,
Mhm.
it's not a negative thing. It's actually a form of survival on their behalf. Is because, men, what I've learned, they think it's very effective thinking. I think that that's one of the reasons why they're so effective in succeeding and understanding planning and things of that sort. You know, it's not that they're narrow minded, it's just that they're very focused. You
Right.
know, they're directional.
Right.
Whereas we're omnidirectional. We see everything, which means that there could be a multitude of distractions. And
Mhm.
so, you've got the hard ass, which I was, and that's the one that doesn't go with the game plan if it's not the game plan. And
Mhm.
you really got to convince it. And no is a word that she's not afraid to use.
Right.
And sometimes that can be looked upon from a predominant male constituency as being defiant, but really it's not. You're just holding the value of what you feel your professional critique deserves.
Right. I totally
And
get
there's
that.
nothing wrong with that. Um, and be effective with it. Don't be emotional or personal. So take those words out of your vocabulary when you're vocalizing your disdain. Leave it
Mm,
to the facts of the value of what you're saying and the result of why you're saying it. And
right.
that always deters the conversation. So then you've got the lovely lady, and that's the one that's just so pleasant and she never creates any problems. She's kind of like the female every day, you know, and she is taken serious, but not really taken serious. Like it won't be like she would be an executive or consideration for an executive, because in their eyes, she's too nice. You feel
Right.
me? So she doesn't afford that,
Mhm.
that grit that sometimes is necessary to take command.
Right.
Um, then you've got the diva. You know what I mean? And that's the one that always needs the reward and whatnot. So she gets the flowers and when things are nice and, the little perks and all of that. But it's as long as she does what they need, she's always going to be great. But as soon as she doesn't, there's going to be a problem. So she
Well,
needs to stay conscientious of that because
hell to
it's an
pay. Yes.
exchange. It's an exchange
Yep.
of what is happening. So I mean, there's many different things, and then me, I was one of the boys. So when you're one of the boys in the boys network, I they used to joke about the need to know. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? If you don't know, you don't need
Yeah. You
to
don't
know.
need to know. That's right.
So
If I
sometimes
didn't
they
tell
put me in
you.
sticky situations, but I just had to go by the need to know. So yeah, yeah.
Aw. Well, knowing that you're trying, to bring us all together and a better understanding of one another's feelings. So there's not so much discord and conflict and things of that nature. I know, trying to build that in the corporate world is one thing, but now trying to build it in society is a much harder task to sort of overcome. So what do you
I
think about that?
I don't I honestly feel like there is a population that is actually focusing on truth
Mm,
and focusing on light,
yes.
focusing on purpose. And I think that that demographic is growing daily due
Yes.
to you cannot ignore what is going on in the world. And so it's kind of forcing you to make a decision just
Yeah.
as far as who you are and where you stand in this sand. Where's the line? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And I feel like because of that, communication is really, and these type of platforms is the very thing that's going to guide people to their own destiny or their own plight. Because everyone, I talk with a dear friend of mine every single day, and we say it all the time. Everyone has their own journey, their own purpose. That's why God created you.
Yes.
So part of that journey is understanding what that is and fulfilling it and
Yeah.
looking at the gifts he gave you, because he
Yeah.
gave you gifts.
Yeah.
And sometimes people ignore it. They deny it. for whatever reasons, whether it be upbringing or whatever. But that level of peace is when you actually understand that. When
Yeah.
you actually, I call it if you look at an onion, the seed is all the way in the middle, right? So if you want to get to the seed, you got to peel the
Oh,
onion to get to the seed. And I
yes.
feel like when you go on that journey of truth, that's exactly what you're doing. You're peeling the lies that have been told to you, the half truths, the negative behaviors that you've learned to cope with negative trauma, and all
Mhm.
of these type of things that you've got to peel and really understand why you do what you do, and make a conscious effort to say, nope, that's not what I want to do, because it does not give me positive result, and
Mhm.
affirm that in action.
Yes.
And that's the progress right there.
Yes, I love that. Well, let me ask you, how can we ensure that different perspectives, diverse perspectives are heard and respected in, decision-making processes when there's things on the table that are important that we must handle and tackle? How do we bring that about?
Well, I think the most important thing is find your tribe. Find the like-minded people so that you can understand that your mindset is not odd, your mindset is not muted, your mindset is really part of a tribe of people who feel the same way, do the same thing. And so that becomes your support system, because sometimes when you speak the truth, some people don't want to hear the truth,
Exactly.
and unfortunately, I mean, just look at this whole, and I finally can say it because it's the truth, this whole pandemic that we went through for 3 years, that
Yeah.
all these truths that people were saying in the very beginning, right? And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, boom,
Yeah.
like there's affirmations, they're losing billion-dollar lawsuits, because of the half truths that they spoke, and
Yeah.
and the tactics that they used to convert people to fear. And
Yeah.
for me, I have a whole different definition for fear now.
Mm.
Fear for me means face everything and rise.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
can't afford to be fearful. You just got to face whatever it is and
It is.
deal with it,
Yes.
because otherwise it just haunts you. It's like, but if you swap it away, it ain't there no more,
It is not
you
there
know?
anymore. Exactly.
No, so you gotta swap it away by facing it. Be like, all right, that's what it is. Bow. No, it ain't no more.
I love that, but that is so true. And that is also for the fear of getting to know others and understanding who others are. Again, everyone grew up with different culture, education, backgrounds, and things of that nature. So, what can we do? What kind of dialogue and active listening can we use to foster the unity and the inner peace and just that tribe that we're searching for? How do we do that?
Well, I mean, I think one of the things that I'm learning is space is very important. Sometimes you need to give, when you're communicating, the other person space, to just even digest the messaging that's being delivered. Not everything is at your pace.
Yeah.
And so being cognitive and empathetic to that, I think helps strengthen communication.
Yeah.
Sometimes people want answers when they want it, and sometimes that's not the time to receive it. So
Right.
staying cognizant of that, I think, is a huge step in effective communication. The second thing is allowing each person to speak without interjecting. That's
Yeah.
a very difficult task, but it's very important, because when someone doesn't feel like they actually have communicated their message, they turn off, and
Yeah.
now the communication is non-existent. So
Yes.
understanding that is very, very important. And again, it goes back to love. It's just, how sincere is this conversation,
Yeah.
you know and here's another thing, especially in the corporate world, ladies, because sometimes we just want to have an opinion on everything. Ladies.
Listen. Go ahead.
Listen, Linda, listen. But there are four things you should ask yourself before you answer any question. One, why are you asking me that question? Why?
Hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Two, how are you using that information?
Hmm. Yeah.
3, who benefits from the result of this answer?
Mm-hmm.
And 4, should I even answer it in the first place?
Place. Yeah.
Because lots of times I've seen this so many times, I call it the setup, where somebody is just, somebody in the office is working everybody's nerves. You know
Mm-hmm.
those people. Everybody's nerves. And usually those people are the supervisors. So nobody wants to have the balls enough to say, this supervisor's driving me crazy. Right? So they go to the person that wants to be liked. Usually it's the female. You know what I mean? That wants to be accepted, that wants to be the team player, right?
Mm-hmm.
And says, LeShawn, doesn't Michelle get on your last nerve? Like, doesn't she drive you crazy when she keeps on asking you this? And you say, yeah, girl. Oh my God. Like, sometimes I just want to say, shut up. Right?
Yeah.
Now, I go to Michelle and I go, girl, I'm not one to gossip or nothing like this, but I gotta let you know, I just had a conversation with LaShawn and she was saying how you just drive her crazy. How sometimes she just wants you to shut up. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I just told Michelle exactly what I wanted to say, but I used you.
Yep.
But
Yep.
had you never, but had you never answered that question by asking those questions that I said,
Yep.
one, why is she asking me? Two, who benefits from it? Three, how is she going to use this?
Yep.
Four, should I even answer it? The answer to that question would be like, nope.
Yep. We all get caught up in that. We all, at one time or another, get caught up in that, and that is why we,
Cut
we,
it out.
we don't communicate effectively. You know what I mean?
Cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it
Yes,
out.
absolutely right, my friend. Yes, I totally agree with that. Wow. Well,
So here's the other thing.
good.
One last thing, because this is really key. You know, sometimes when a woman is steadfast in what it is, she gets that negative connotation of being a bitch, right? But
Hmm.
I used to tell my brothers, wait, hold up. I want you to know what you're saying to me when you say that to me. Be clear
Hmm.
on what you're saying. You're saying that I'm a beautiful, intelligent, talented corporate hustler. So,
That's right.
yes, I'm a
That's right.
bitch.
I'll be
And
calling
I
that
think
all day.
yes, and when you learn to redefine things, lady, that's when you get back the power.
Yeah.
Because nowhere did you say I was a pain in the ass or anything of that sort. Everywhere in that definition, I told you what I was made of. And I'm usually a wise ass, so I'm saying don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah.
Play the game better, player.
That is
Anyway.
so true. And again, can be used personally as well. These are tactics that you use, obviously, in business settings, corporate purposes. But yes, this can also be used personally for us on our day to day. It is so important to utilize those very same little tenets that you mentioned, to think about everything before we move forward. So I know that you have, because I don't want time to get away from us, my friend. I know that you have so much going on right now. This new journey that you're embarking on empowering women. Also, as I mentioned, just trying to unify everyone on a whole. Tell us a little about what you have going on, what we can be looking out for. What's your next move?
Okay, I'll write it down. But thank you very much, LaShawn, for having me on the show. You are an absolute delight and an inspiration, and continue doing what you're doing, sister, because it's absolutely necessary and beautiful.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
So, in staying with the CEO versus CEO, I am doing more book tours. Shout out to Kimberly Weeks. We're talking about the Brown Girl Book Tour, and it's a group of women telling their stories and helping other women empower through storytelling. So, be on the lookout for that. I'm also doing coaching and consulting. So I'm having a lot of fun with that and really doing a lot more outreach with young ladies within the entertainment industry. I feel like there is a need for that conversation. In the vein of my youth advent, advocacy and my female empowerment, I am working on a brunch for October for the International Day of the Girl, where it's Miss MISS to Miss MS brunch.
I
So
love
we're
it.
going to take professional women and inner city girls and just have a wonderful day of conversation.
I love
And for television production, I right now. Shout out to my business partner, Angel Vargas. Um, we've got a show called Hip Hop Tour. We just finished our last show, which is the 50th anniversary of hip hop. We documented what happened in New York City over the summer. Absolutely amazing. That was like most incredible summers, because I'm a true hip hop head.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm a culturalist to the core. And so Hip Hop Tour is on a brand new Black owned network called Nubian TV. You can check out the VOD at nubiantv.net and just look up Hip Hop Tour. You can follow us on IG, Hip Hop Tour TV. And the acting and those things, I'm embracing. Gil Talent, shout out to my agent Gil Talent. I'm so bad because I've been editing so much, I haven't been answering some of the C-mails and castings, but I am getting offers, so I'm looking forward to doing more of that in the summer.
I
So
love
yeah, but I just, where I am creatively, I just want to be the difference that makes a difference. So I also wrote my first song, and shout out to Angelic Voices. We're going to be working on that as well. So
I
yeah.
love that. I love that. This new TV program that you have, what kind of conversations will be had there? I know you said, obviously, music oriented, you're a heavy hip hop head as but what kind of stories will you be covering?
So the whole objective and purpose of Hip Hop Tour is to bring back intergenerational television. Gone are the days where grandma, mama, and baby, everybody could sit in front of the TV and watch something and actually have a conversation. Hip hop is the only art form and culture that's growing old with its people. So that there is the common denominator without covering the eyes or the ears or all that other foolishness because of some of the content.
Right.
On top of that, it is also to show the lifestyle and culture and the influence that hip hop has done over the years.
Right.
I think sometimes people forget that these were inner city teenagers that created a multi-billion-dollar business. That now there are so many derivatives that want to take on that moniker of hip hop, but they don't live the culture. And so the whole purpose of my show is to show the differential between the lifestyle and culture called hip hop and this rap industrial complex that we're all dealing with right now. That I'm not hating, I'm just saying it is not as progressive as hip hop is to our community.
I like that. So you want to shine light on that, bring it
Shine
to
a
the
light
forefront.
on
I know that's right. I know that's right, girl. So let me ask you, I mean, with everything that you have going on and all that you've already accomplished, what kind of mark do you want to leave on this world? I know you're all about peace, love, and unity, but what is Amelia is more mark on the world?
I think, at the end of the day, it's just being an example of God's love.
Mhm.
He's got me on this mission now, and I follow his every step. I answer his every call. And like even just recently, he woke me up in the middle of the night and told me to advocate for seniors because right now the real estate world is doing something horrible to seniors that own their property. They're raising their taxes on fixed incomes, and so they're losing their houses not because they didn't pay for it, not because they can't afford to upkeep it. They can't afford for the fake
Yeah.
increments of tax increases to take care of the city's billing that
Right.
that is unjust to them
Yeah.
because of developers coming in and amortizing the land property, not even the value of the property, the building itself, but the land. And
Yeah.
that's what they're getting taxed on, and that's unjust. So
Yeah.
these are the things, you know what I mean? I guess it's just being an orator for God and being the difference that makes a difference. I mean,
I love it.
that's truly what I feel. Just be an example.
I
That's
love
it. Everybody has that opportunity. Just be
that.
an example.
Just be an example. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So what would you like to leave us with before we go? What would you like to share with the Your Our Unity community?
Well, I want everybody to follow their girl on IG, on YouTube, on everything, including Nubian TV. Okay, so just Google Amelia Ismore, and that's AMELIAISMORE, because I'm more than what you bargained for. I'm your host with the most, and love and support is all I'm looking for because numbers matter, y'all, and strength is in numbers. And if you like what I'm talking about, follow me.
I love that. We have your information. Any words of wisdom you want to share with the people?
Dare to do, and take out the word trying, because trying leaves it open for something to happen that's not progressive. So you're always working on something. And never forget, let everybody do them. Tell them, do you. But when doing you affects doing me, then it's a conversation.
I love it. Thank you so much for being here. I love your mind. I love your mission. I love everything that you represent. You are a light, my
Oh, oh,
friend.
oh.
What?
And buy the book, y'all.
Yeah.
www.sheovsceo.com. And that's
Let's show that
SHEEO.
one more time. That's right. Let's
Yes.
show that book one more time. And
Yes,
her
it's
outro one more time.
SHEEOVS. Yes,
Right.
darling. So
Right.
guys, just make sure you hit that up because buying the book and let's getting this mindset out here is really gonna help a lot of young ladies deal with what they're dealing with out there. I didn't write this to make money, I wrote this to make a difference.
I love that. And you really are making a difference. I had the chance to read a few paragraphs and I already love it, and I'm excited for what you're sharing, and how you're sharing it, because we definitely need it, considering there's so many women out there in the corporate world who are, in control of these high powered positions. So we have to teach them how we have to own our voice and speak our truth and not feel ashamed to do so. So I thank you so much for being here, beautiful. And you help me segue directly into the Dare to Be You. And the Dare to Be You is: though our perspectives may diverge like the branches of a tree, our roots are shared, grounded in the soil of humanity. In the symphony of voices, let us find harmony. For in understanding our differences, we discover the beauty of our collective song. So let's embrace the tapestry of diverse perspectives, raising our voices not in discord, but in harmony, amplifying the chorus of humanity together. Let's strive for common ground where respect, empathy, and collaboration reign supreme. Notice how, I correlate that with the music industry, and you see how I did that? That was all
That
me.
was
That was
fire,
all me.
girl. I like that. That was fire. I like that.
Thank you. And that's what we need to do. We need to all come together. As I mentioned earlier in the show, if we respect our individual differences, understand each other, listen to each other, if we try to find some common ground, we will be a better people. We will find so many friends and won't be such hatred in the world. We'll be able to respect each other and come together and expose all the things that truly we all share in our heart, which is really just wanting to have love, peace, and happiness and unity in our lives. So I hope that you guys are listening. I hope that you guys got the message for the show today. I hope that you enjoyed my amazing guest, Miss Amelia Ismore. Do you want to leave us with anything else? We have a few seconds more, my friend.
Sure. I love everything that you said, LaShawn. You're right on point with that. And, it's okay to love from a distance, you guys. Sometimes you're going to recognize that some people just don't fit in your circle. Don't clutter your circle with people that just take up space. Make sure that the people that are in your circle are the people that are, being a difference, making a difference. And if you're a giver, give to givers. And when you come across a taker, take them out of your cipher and replace it with another giver, and life will keep on giving. That's
That's
it.
right. That's right. That's right. Thank you so much, beautiful. I appreciate you so, so much. I want you guys to tune in to another episode of Your Our Unity next week. Please remember that peace and love is in the palm of our hands. So let's go out there and be some love, give some love, and share some love. Please listen to each other this week. Please let your voice be heard. Please expose the commonalities that we all share. I want you guys to have a wonderful week. We will see you next week. Remember that I love you, and we'll see you next week. Have a good night.